The narrative of Sherdil The Pilibhit Saga is an allegorical episode of Man vs. Wild, an episode whose characters, places, and events are not fictional and do bear resemblance to the real world. A world that has witnessed the timeless journey of transformation of both mankind and the natural world. At the beginning of time, the natural world was in perfect harmony with mankind. Both of them shared a deep bond of mutual respect and admiration for each other's evolutionary grandeur. But as time progressed and modernity started taking over mythology, mankind began stealing from the natural world instead of being grateful for its selfless favors. The abundant benevolence of the natural world became a thankless fortune for mankind. Now, unlike the natural world, mankind was not ready to share those fortunes equally with each other. It chose to divide this wealth of nature and eventually create a hierarchy based on who owns this wealth the most. This hierarchy kept expanding with the progression of time and eventually led to a division of the human race into two broad societies. One society that lived closer to the natural world considered itself to be its slaves, in a good sense, of course. The population of this society was eternally grateful for the gifts of nature and got the opportunity to become one with the natural world itself by giving it back the same love and affection. They did enjoy the favors of nature to ensure the sustenance of their livelihood, but paid their respects to the forces of nature as well for taking care of them and keeping them alive. The other society that lived far from the natural world considered them to be the masters of the natural world. In fact, in the name of building their home and developing their society, they cleared off parts of the natural world and declared those places as their rightful residences for eternity. They are grateful for the gifts of nature, but they don't seem to reciprocate the same love and affection. Instead, they chose to become greedy for those gifts and started searching for more in order to fulfill their materialistic aspirations. The plot of Sherdil The Pilibhit Saga does a wonderful job of bringing the citizens of both these societies together under one roof of nature and explores various themes of how these societies function, what are their beliefs, their desires, and their goals of life. For me, the best part of the cinematic exploration is when the citizens of both the societies exchange a couple of dialogues regarding how animals stop eating once they are satiated, but on the other hand, human beings continue to hunt even after getting satiated. I also like how the makers of the film have included some comic reliefs in the middle of serious contemplations between the characters. Lastly, I just wanted to take a few moments to cover an aspect of the film which is something that I observed the very first time I started watching the film, and that is the aspect ratio. So at first glance, it just reminded me of films like Ben-Hur and Hateful Eight. I compared both the film trailers side by side and I realized that yes, Sherdil The Pilibhit Saga is indeed using the 276:1 aspect ratio, which is like a super wide aspect ratio and something that has become a rarity. You don't get to see this aspect ratio quite often being used in films or in TV shows. There is no point of using them in TV shows, but yeah, definitely not in films, not a lot of times. So this aspect ratio was used for the 70mm roadshow format theaters. Such wide aspect ratios are something that are achieved using anamorphic lenses. If you want to know more about how this is done, I have linked a video in the description for you guys from this channel called Tomorrow's Filmmakers. You can get to know each and everything about aspect ratios. And for the purpose of narrating this story, when it comes to Sherdil, the aspect ratio represents a lot of different meanings in my opinion. The first one, as we can see from this very first shot of the film, the opening shot of the film, that it conveys the vastness of the natural world, how big the natural world is. And secondly, it shows how we as human beings have always been a part of this huge planet. We are like small parts of something very big. And I think it also relates to this dialogue in the film, which is about how humans are born from the ground and will dissolve in the ground. इंसान ज़मीन से ही पैदा होता है और ज़मीन में ही जाके मिल जाएगा. And even after our death, how we become a resource for the planet, how we become a resource for the soil. This is something that you will get to see when you start watching the film. And while watching this scene, if you also feel the same as what I said to you in this video, let me know that in the comments. Overall, I feel that Sherdil The Pilibhit Saga is a very well crafted story. You should definitely go and watch this film. It is now streaming on Netflix. and the makers of the film have done a very good job. Please watch this film because films like Sherdil The Pilibhit Saga are something that we don't get to see being made a lot, especially when it comes to Hindi cinema, the modern Hindi cinema. So you should definitely go and watch this film on Netflix, and let me know what are your thoughts about this video in the comments. And if you've liked this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I will be back soon with another video, and as always, long live cinema.